Which vehicles celebrated at this year's Residual Value Awards? What will happen to European used car markets in 2026? And are the automotive industry's supply chains straining under increased tension? This is the Automotive Update, presented by AutoVista24. I'm Tom Geggus, AutoVista24's editor, here with the latest edition of the Automotive Update. We're going to run through the last 7 days of big automotive news stories. First up, the winners of this year's Residual Value Awards have been announced. The 8 category winners are calculated using AutoVista Group analysis and insights powered by data from across 17 markets. The results revealed something of a premium German trend, with a lot of brands from the country collecting awards. So without further ado, let's go through the winners. Mini celebrated 2 victories, with the Mini Cooper taking the crown in the small car category and the Mini Aceman winning in the small BEV category. BMW Group also saw the BMW 1 Series celebrate success in the compact car category. Mercedes-Benz took multiple awards as well. It celebrated wins in the large car category with the Mercedes-Benz E-Class and the large SUV category with the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. The Audi A6 Avant e-tron took home the trophy in the compact and large BEV category, while the Porsche Macan was the victor in the compact and large BEV SUV category. Finally, the only non-premium German brand to take an award this year was the Dacia Duster in the compact SUV category. Dr. Christoph Engelskirchen, Chief Economist and Director of Valuations and Forecasting, said, "Being positioned as a premium brand helps if you are looking for a top spot in the ranking. Premium German brands are a safe bet for premium residual values. Conversely, Dacia has proved year after year that a refined, high value for money positioning strikes a chord with consumers." Find out more about the winners and the other finalists, as well as how the awards are calculated on AutoVista24. I'll leave some links in the show notes. This week, AutoVista Group hosted a webinar called The Road Ahead, Residual Value Trends and the Next Market Shift. So who better to talk us through the online event than its moderator, AutoVista24 journalist Tom Hooker.
Hi Tom, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good, thank you. Very good. A busy week for us. But first up, why don't you give us a quick overview of the webinar? Who was in it and what did you all cover?
Certainly. So I was joined by Dr. Anna Langer, Product Director of Valuation Apps at AutoVista Group, and she walked me through Europe's uncertain economic environment. The next section of the webinar saw Robert Madas, Regional Head of Valuations at AutoVista Group, review the latest and upcoming residual value trends. Then Javier Salgado, Director of Valuations and Forecast Experts at AutoVista Group, showed me how these trends have had a real-world impact on fleets.
Great. Well, let's focus on the uncertainty and the economic environment bit first, Tom, because there's been so many unpredictable factors to consider this year.
Yeah, it's a great talking point, and I think it's important to have a wider picture of why these used car trends are occurring in the first place. Firstly, inflation continues to rise due to ongoing geopolitical tensions and conflicts. This goes hand in hand with an increasing consumer price index, which was already at an all-time high in April and May, yet it's still growing. Unsurprisingly, this tense economy has not been good for automotive. Stagnating economies have led to affordability issues and reduced investment in the industry. Now, this has been compounded by delays in investment and supply due to ongoing tariff negotiations. Then, to add more wood to the fire, you've then got a massive EV push that is putting pressure on manufacturers to become more profitable.
Like you say, Tom, there is a lot of wood on this fire at the moment. So what does all this mean for residual value performance in 2026?
Well, again, I would say almost unsurprisingly, it's not a positive picture, with pressure on residual values forecast to remain across Europe's major used car markets. In most of these markets, 36-month-old cars are expected to suffer up to a 1.5% fall in residual values expressed as a percentage of the new car list price. The only exception is Italy, which is forecast to endure a much bigger drop of 5.4%. However, these declines would represent a slowdown compared to this year, where we've seen percentage residual values fall at an even sharper rate.
So which used car age group should brace for a bigger hit?
It's a good question, Tom, and actually it's one of the things we focused in on a bit more during the webinar. So next year, passenger cars aged 36 months or older are expected to be affected more than younger vehicles. This matches what we've seen so far in 2025, where market pressure on 3 to 4-year-old models is increasing. But we didn't just narrow things down by vehicle age groups during the webinar. We also looked into the differences between powertrains as well. And there we saw that battery electric vehicles, or BEV, residual values are still struggling. Meanwhile, plug-in hybrids, or PHEVs, are performing much better and even in some markets are at the level of petrol or diesel models.
And do these trends match what is happening for fleets across Europe?
Not quite. So I asked Javier during the webinar if I had a fleet and a lot of my vehicles have 36-month contracts, should I be expecting a big drop? Because as we saw in the outlook, these residual values are expected to fall next year. However, he explained that most of the market changes are actually already included in Autovista Group's forecast values, and that ideally, reforecast should stay quite stable, which shows that assumptions were accurate. Because most leases in Europe last around 3.5 years, the first forecast is done long before the cars reach the used market. When demand or stock levels change, the forecast is then updated. He emphasized that every fleet is unique with almost an individual recipe of different models, registration dates, mileages, and brands. This means even in the same country, results can vary depending on powertrain and brand perception. I think this just highlights that market trends can have a completely different outcome on two different fleets, depending on their composition.
Thanks, Tom. Now, maybe you missed the webinar, but don't worry, there is a recording on Autovista 24 alongside a write-up from Tom. Just head to the show notes for the links. And to get all of our news directly to your inbox, just sign up for our email. Head to our homepage and scroll to the bottom, you'll find a sign-up form. And you can check out Autovista 24's YouTube channel as well. There you'll find our What Is Explained videos, Launch Report series, and webinar recordings. And of course, subscribe to the Autovista 24 podcast wherever you listen to us. This week, automotive industry bodies have raised red flags over supply chain concerns. The European Automobile Manufacturers Association, also known as ACEA, highlighted the potential disruption which could be caused by an interruption of supplies in Xperia semiconductors. These are often used in vehicle electronic control units, for example. Without them, European automotive supplies could grind to a halt. Now, the industry does have access to similar chips from other suppliers, but homologating new suppliers for specific components and building up production could take several months, ACEA said. The problem is that current stocks of Xperia chips are only expected to last for a few weeks. ACEA Director General Sigrid de Vries said that automakers have taken steps over the last years to diversify supply chains, but risk cannot be mitigated down to zero. This is a cross-industry issue affecting a large number of suppliers and virtually all of our members. Elsewhere this week, Italian automotive body ANFIA said that restrictions of rare earth metal exports from China could have a big impact on the European automotive industry, as reported by Reuters. Speaking at the Forum Automotive Conference, ANFIA chairman Roberto Vavasori said manufacturers had been able to keep up production when suppliers were previously curbed, but that reserves are now depleted. These metals are refined and processed in China and then deployed across many industries, with car makers using them for electric motors as well as other components. A big thanks to Autovista 24 journalist Tom Hooker for appearing in and co-producing this episode. Additional thanks go to Autovista 24 special content editor Phil Curry and Autovista 24's web editor James Roberts. The music was Better Find a Solution Fast by Richard Ames. Thank you for listening to the Autovista 24 podcast.